With now the new generation BMW M5 being released, I thought it would be best to look back on the predecessor F10 model. This is still a remarkably capable machine, plus its tech is way ahead of its time. You can pick one of these up now for 35 grand on the used car market, and it was another excuse for me to pull big fat slides in it. So this is where this comes in, the F10 BMW M5, the successor to the E60 V10. And in roads like this, in town, this is a far less complicating, far more simpler car to drive than the E60. For example, I've got 3 settings for the gear shift ferocity rather than 6. I've also got 2 preference save modes, M1 or M2, so I can have it in the really nice comfort mode or the really nice attack mode, or I can have it both in comfort. I've also got different settings for the throttle adjustment. I suppose it's still a little bit more of a complicating car than the E60. So what's the F10 M5 like when you take it somewhere like Bruntingthorpe? Well, on wet weather like today, we're still sideways there. It's a bit of a sideways car for sure. 560 horsepower from that twin turbo V8, and yeah, with a dual clutch gearbox, it's pretty wild. 560 horsepower, I think this is pushing a bit more than that, especially at a crank. It's got to be over 600 horsepower and over 550 foot-pounds of torque, because that's what it feels like. BMW are very good at undermining its numbers, but on wet weather like today, throwing it about, it's good. It does hide its mass really well, despite it being a 1900 kilo car, but it's 90 kilograms heavier than the E60 V10. And you kind of feel it. I mean, it's not too terrible, but it's yeah, an interesting thing. But going down the straight, this thing is fast, seriously fast. I mean, in-gear acceleration, this feels just as quick as a Nissan GTR. In fact, probably quicker, I'd say. But if you want to do Japanese drift competition as well, this thing is an absolute hooligan, but it does have some problems. The engine, yes, it's a masterpiece. Yes, it's unbelievably good for a turbocharged unit. I mean, the throttle response is instant. It revs all the way to the top end, and when you're mid-corner drifting it, you can adjust it mid-corner on the throttle. You can do small angles and small movements, but the steering just doesn't have that nice bit of feedback. Here we go again. We're just sort of sideways as we. Oh man, this is brilliant. And the fact that you got a dual clutch gearbox, you could just grab another gear like that. It's got so much torque. That's 4th gear. 110 miles an hour. Yes, this is a bit of a hooligan car, but it lacks that spark. It just has a missing thing, which is its character, its identity. I don't know what to say. The engine just doesn't quite cut it for me. That 4.4 litre twin turbo V8 is probably one of the best turbocharged engines on the sale. In fact, you can't tell it's turbocharged at all. But seriously, it's not setting my heart on fire. But none of that sideways stuff. What's it actually like when you throw it into a few corners and drive it a bit neat and tidy? Well, through this little chicane here at Bruntingthorpe, it's yeah, it's pretty alright. You're just got to be a bit careful of the getting on the power, but yeah, it's got some good mechanical traction. But really what you want to do in it is be a hooligan. But the turning's really good. You can feel the mass though. The mass is where it sort of starts to go uncontrollable, especially after 8 temps. Really what this car likes doing is just doing this type of stuff. Fucking brilliant! That was 110 miles an hour, fully lit sideways. Man, this thing loves to do skids. When that's 140, 150, what's the brakes like? Oh yeah, you can start feeling the mass a little bit, but fuck me. We're still sideways.